What's good, YouTube? Brother Derek checking in again. I hope everybody's doing well. And for all y'all that don't know, my name is Derek Elford, also known as Brother Derek. I'm a real estate coach, a life coach. I wrote a book, Choose Wisely, which is behind me, and that book gives you information on how to build and create and sustain healthy relationships. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the importance of one property and how it could change your life. And all y'all that know my channel know how big I am on real estate and how important it is, in my opinion, at least own one property. So, and it's important because just one property could change your life. It literally, one rental property can change your life. And I know everybody is struggling right now. And when I say struggling, I don't mean like broke, because everybody is struggling in their own way, whether it's with time, money, relationship, whatever it is. And maybe you're not, maybe you're doing well. If you are, forgive me. But most people, I feel like, are struggling in some area. And a lot of times it can be solved with more money or more time. And that's what one property can do for you. So I'm going to tell you my story. Because me and my wife, we've been investing in real estate for the past 8 years, 7 or 8 years. I feel like it's been 8 years. But either way, I'm going to tell you a quick story. So back in 2013, I was working at a car factory in my city, which is in Rochester, New York. I won't tell you the car factory, but I will tell you that I got a job there. And I tell you, I hated this job. I hated the job. The hours were long, the work was repetitive, and just boring. So literally, we were working on a line, just pushing parts on the line, and it was just, you know, it could drive you crazy because it's just like literally the same thing over and over and over and over. So doing that in 2013, so this is what, like 11 years ago? Yeah, 11 years ago. Dang. Wow, because we're in 2024. Yeah, 11 years ago. So been doing that. I was working there for a couple years, but I kid y'all not. Once I got there, my first month there, I'm like, I know I'm not gonna stay here. I can't do this type of work for a long time. And that job was a very toxic environment. Like most of us, maybe even you probably at a job where you got a supervisor that you might seem like is out to get you, or you got people you work with that are just toxic, like they don't want to see you doing good. You might have jealous employee. You might have jealous coworkers. There might be people around you that just, it's that energy is there. Like it doesn't feel good to go to work. And I tell you, every day for those years I was there, I felt like it was like a fridge on my back. Like I would have to crawl to work. Like it was so hard to go to work every day. And I know somebody watching this video can relate to that. I know it. I know it because most people don't like their jobs. And there's a couple people I've met. My mom is one that told me she loved her job. But most people I met hate their job, or it's hard to go to work. So yeah, that was my life for 5 years, you know, at that car plant, struggling to go to work. I was dealing with people that wanted to see me fail, wanted to see me down, wanted to see me miserable. Supervisors was always looking for a way to get you in trouble, which is to get you fired, to get you, on, suspended from work. We would get mandated every Saturday. Sometimes we would work Sundays. So I wasn't gonna lie, I was making pretty good money, on a higher 20s. Back then that was a lot of money, making like between 18 up to like 24, $25 an hour. Overtime was time and a half. Sundays we would get double time, so we would be getting like $40 an hour, 42. We would get bonuses, you know, Christmas bonus was like 250, 500. We would get a profit sharing, which was, you know, maybe $5,000 to $7,000, and this was every year, y'all. So I was making money, but I was miserable, and I didn't want to be there. I didn't know any other way. Like I knew this wasn't right. I knew this wasn't where I wanted to be, but I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know. I didn't see anybody else doing anything other than working a job. So I met my wife, who wasn't my wife yet, and I met her, and she was telling me about how she wanted to buy a house, and she told me, that she was talking to some people in the plant. They own rental property, and that they were basically saying that you could live for free. And I was like, live for free. I'm like, because at the time I moved out of my mom's house, so I was living on an apartment. And I tell y'all, the first hit so quick every month when you paying rent. Like every month, I was paying 16.50, something like that, 16.25, 16.50 every month. Bam, and it seemed like the first hit so quick, like every month, bam. So when she told me that, I'm like, I could live for free, you know, because what your biggest expense usually your sorry your biggest expense usually is your rent or you lay your head. So whether that's your rent or your mortgage, that's usually your biggest expense. Now a lot of people do got these crazy car payments, and I'm a car guy myself. I love Infinities, Nissan cars, but I could never have a car that was more than my mortgage or rent. I couldn't do it. I could have a payment that was higher than my rent. It just doesn't make sense. But either way, that's how I feel now. That may change one day, but I don't do it. I can't see it. But back to the story. So I met her. She put that. She dropped that seed in my head, and that's why it's important who you spend your time with, and who you hang around, and who you call your mentors. And you should even have a mentor. But either way, she put me onto the game, and me and her met. We was talking, and I was like, you know, I hang with her like we was friends for sure. I already liked her, and bam, I was making my move. We married now, so your boy did good. But back to the story. So me and her locked in, and we were just always trying to figure out a plan. Like, so how's we gonna do this? How's we gonna? So either way, we figured it out. We both bought our separate duplexes. We weren't together as far as like that. We were together, but we weren't gonna live together till we got married. But bam, we both bought duplexes after research, trial and error, and we was able to figure it out, and we lived for free. So I was able to eliminate, and she was able to eliminate that too, because she lived at home. So bam, you know, I was in my apartment, and I didn't even tell y'all I had to move back home. That's something that we have to do. Sometimes you have to set your pride aside and take two step back so you can move a step forward. So I was living in my own apartment. I was like 23, I think 24. I might even been a little older. But I moved back home with moms, and I'm like, hey mom, I'm looking to buy a house. I'm gonna buy a duplex. Can I move back home to save up some money? And also said I don't have to be tied in to this rent payment, because you paying rent every month, so you need to give them some kind of notice. But with real estate and getting a house, sometimes you don't know when you're gonna close, when you're gonna move. So it's better to be able to be somewhere where you have flexibility in your living situation. So I moved back home, and I tell y'all that was so hard. I had my freedom. I could go and come as I please, and I didn't have a bunch of females in my house like that. I was very, low key. I'm a big component of just one person, so it wasn't women running in and out of my apartment, but I just wanted the space. And I grew up with my mom. Like, it's my lady. We've been together since 30 plus years, but it was that's my mom. But I couldn't live with my mom, you know, like most men. At that point in time, you be like, I gotta go, I gotta get on my own. But in this case, I was on my own, but I had to come back to the nest so that I could save up some money. So I ended up giving Mom Duke some money, so for me to live in her home, so I can move back home, and helped her and allowed me to save. So I was giving my mom like 200, so I was saving that $400 each month instead of giving it to the apartment complex. I was helping my mom out, and I was saving as if I was still paying rent. So instead of paying rent, I was giving my mom 200, and I was saving the other 400 towards my down payment and all that for my house. So that one house, getting that duplex, I was then able to quit that job, you know, that I told you I hated. I despised. People was out there to get me. They was trying to make my life miserable. They wanted to keep me and my wife away from each other. They hated us to be together at that place. Like, it was a bad, toxic environment. But that one duplex allowed me to get that freedom that I can or I could breathe. I don't got to worry about that $600 anymore. I'm making money and living for free. So my duplex, I was able to rent one side out. It was a 3 bedroom, 1 bath on each side. I was able to rent one side out for $13.50. Now, granted, I was paying $6.50 for rent, but I'm making $13.50 on just one side of my duplex. $13.50. $13.50. I was able to make that on one side of my duplex. Just let that sink in, because it's still crazy. I was doing that one property, $13.50. That's twice of what I was paying. Now every month, I'm getting paid. Every month comes around, and I tell you, now that I'm on the receiving end, that month takes so long to come. That first takes so long to come. It's crazy now. Like, I can't wait for the first, but I remember the days where I had to wait. I mean, I remember the days where the first was just, it seemed like I was paying rent every week, and now it seemed like it take 2 months for me to get rent. But either way, one property allowed me to quit that job because I had some flexibility now. I didn't have to stay there to pay my rent. You know, my car was paid off. I didn't have a car payment. So, you know, I took a leap of faith, but that may not be what you want to do. You might not. Your job might be okay. You might want to stay there and stack some money, but you can use this rental property to help you get some flexibility. It'll help you, instead of having a part-time job, you got a rental property. Instead of paying that car payment, you got a rental property. Instead of working all this overtime to go on a trip, you got a property to pay your trip. So one property can free up so many things, y'all. So that was the moral of the story, is one property set me free from that toxic job. It got me away from the people that were trying to, it was so much negative energy in that place that it allowed me to be free from that. And I didn't even tell you I was getting hurt on that job, because we doing repetitive motions all the time. So I had injuries on my wrist. I had shoulder injuries because I'm constantly grabbing these heavy parts and moving them around, all these twists. Like, we're not machines. We shouldn't be doing that type of work on a daily basis for 8 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. Like, that's going to destroy your body. And I saw so many people older than me still working there, getting hurt, you know, still working there, and they barely could walk, and their hips need to get replaced, and you walking on concrete every day. Like, that's bad for your knees. Like, I thought about all those things, but, you know, being able to buy one property, one duplex, and it might even be a single family for you, whatever you feel like you want to buy, or what you see in your area that may fit your needs, you can do. So I'm not going to go too in depth on that, because I'll have more videos coming forward. And me and my wife, we got a course that we're putting out soon. It's going to show you exactly how we do it. It's going to show you exactly how we buy properties, you know, how we find properties, exactly how we find tenants. And that's the biggest thing with real estate. After you buy the house, because you can buy the perfect house for the perfect price, get it right, have it look in the best way it could possibly look, and you could get the wrong person and they tear your spot up. And that's the biggest thing I would hear people say about real estate is, oh man, don't get in real estate, man. Them tenants are gonna tear up your spot. Or don't get into real estate, man. I had gotten into real estate, and man, the tenants wasn't paying me, man, and I had to sell the spot. Don't get into all these stories is about how people did it wrong. And a lot of people, when I ask them these stories, I'm like, well, what did you do? Oh man, well, I was how did that tenant get in there? Oh man, well, I was, I was kind of messing with this tenant. We had a little relationship, or I kind of just, my friends said they was a good person, so I let them rent out. Like, you listen to their stories and you'll be like, so basically you didn't know what you was doing. You got into this game and didn't know what you was doing, and it's okay to not know what you're doing, but don't make a mistake that was your fault. Don't take responsibility for it, and then try to, throw salt in the game and be like, yeah, don't do, like, all real estate is bad because you had a bad experience, because you didn't do what you're supposed to do, or because you made a mistake. You didn't know. You got to learn. You got to take L's sometimes to get the wins. And some people get one L and they don't learn from it, and then they quit, and then they try to push everybody else down because they messed up. So it's a way to do it right, and we're going to show y'all the right way. And that's what helped us get multiple properties. So just one property allowed me to quit my job, allowed my wife to go to nursing school because she hated that job as well. So it allowed us to free up, it allowed us the freedom to figure things out. And a lot of times we don't have time to figure things out because we so busy working. We got to get money to pay our rent, get food, get groceries. But one property can at least alleviate half of that. It can at least get rid of your rent. You don't have to worry about where you're going to live. You got something paying for that every month. So hope this video helped y'all. Sorry if it's a little long, but I wanted to really tell y'all my story. And that's just a little brief story of it. I'll go in depth maybe in other videos, but be lookout. The course is coming. Well, actually, the program is coming. So it'll be an actual program where we'll teach you and have videos for you to watch, and then we'll have some live sessions as well. And if you need a coaching call as well, you can reach out to me. My link is in the link below, in the comments below. Sorry, it's in the box below the video. Either way, I'll see you on the next video. Love y'all. Peace.